I receive international arms dealer, and you'll receive a WNBA player who, if her Twitter history is anything, doesn't really like America anyway. The US, in particular, President Joe Biden, has received instant, massive backlash today in the breaking news that WNBA player Brittney Griner has been released in a prisoner swap for a notorious international arms dealer, Viktor Bout, also known as the Merchant of Death, while leaving former US Marine Paul Whelan behind in Russia. Viktor Bout was one of the world's most notorious international arms dealers that came out of the Soviet Union. In April 2012, he was sentenced to 25 years in a US prison on conspiracy to kill Americans and kill US officials, delivering anti-aircraft missiles to terrorist organizations and aiding a terrorist organization. This guy is a bad motherfucker. This guy inspired the movie Lord of War, a Nicolas Cage film, where, funnily enough, in the end of this film, Mr. Bout gets away from justice and escapes. Now, we knew, at least then, that this was very different to what actually happened in real life, or was it? Was it just a Hollywoodism, when seemingly as of today, this ending of the movie has become true in real life? People are saying that this was not a fair swap at all. In February, Griner was put in a Russian prison for having cannabis oil in, vape pens. This is no big deal, is it? Well, it might not be in America, but Russia's law is very clear that this is illegal to import into the country. Now, was this on some trumped-up charges? Was she overcharged? Well, yes, because at that point, and still now, tensions between the US and Russia have been skyrocketing. They are massive. But at the end of the day, did she break the law? Did she break Russian law? Yes. Did they use an example? Yes. Both are true. Griner has been very outspoken against America before. Quote, "I honestly feel like we shouldn't play the national anthem during our season," Griner said to the New Arizona Republic. "I think we should take that much of a stand." Continues about the national anthem, "I personally don't think it belongs in sports. Black people didn't have rights at that point." Griner said to the creation of the Star-Spangled Banner, "It's hard disrespecting a song that doesn't even represent all Americans when it was first made." Although the same America has worked endlessly to bring Griner home. A lot of people have said, if she doesn't even like America, why should a country pursue bringing a citizen home? Well, this is something that I disagree on. A country has a responsibility to protect all of its citizens. In a democratic country, you can think whatever you would like to think. That the country, the state, has a responsibility to protect its citizens while at home and overseas, no matter of what their political stance may be. Although a lot of people are pointing at President Biden, who is an advocate for arms control, has just released one of the most notorious arms dealers that has ever existed in this space. Although a lot of people are pointing fingers at, yes, he was a notorious arms dealer, but as far as the largest arms dealers in the world is still America, and if you have a dig into some of the arms deals that the CIA have done to some questionable groups, it pales still in comparison. I think Russia actually got a lot more of a deal here than just getting Viktor Bout back. We know that Russia has had some level of influence in American elections before. We know this. To what extent? Well, none of that is proven rock solid. Although, I think the win that Russia get out of this is not only do they get Viktor Bout back, but they create further political unrest in America between the Republicans and the Democrats, between the progressive and the conservative party. And by creating this unrest, this could be long-term influence on maybe voting outcomes as they come. As we know, the relationship between Trump and Putin is more favourable to Russia in some ways than Biden and Putin's relationship. And if you don't think that these deals, these trades, are thought of meticulously to the absolute nth degree, you'd be incorrect from the Russian side. They had everything to gain from this and really not that much to lose. A US official has gone on record and saying it was either get Brittney or get nothing. As an American, Paul Whelan, and a former Marine, has been in a Russian penal colony since 2018. But this get Brittney or get nothing. Well, sometimes the correct answer may be to get nothing if you are getting a bad deal or bargain for a better deal. I completely understand going through human rights and trying to see what conditions these two Americans were in living in a Russian prison. Although, get someone or get nothing is not a good way to look at this on the global scale. I understand at a personal level, I do. But when the effects are this big, this massive, you don't think that Russia could use an international arms dealer right now? We've seen Russia's newfound friendship with countries like Iran and the deals go between there. That could definitely come in handy. This get Brittney or get nothing attitude. If you are selling your car for $20,000 and someone offers you $2,000, get cash or get nothing, well, you're going to hold on to the car. You've still got a bargaining chip. I think America maybe needed a feel-good story rather than something that actually benefited the mass. Griner's wife, Sherelle, had this to say, standing next to President Biden.
For the last 9 months, y'all have been so privy to one of the darkest moments of my life. And so today I'm just standing here overwhelmed with emotions, but the most important emotion that I have right now is just sincere gratitude for President Biden and his entire administration. Today, my family is whole, but as you all are aware, there's so many other families who are not whole. And so BG's not here to say this, but I will gladly speak on her behalf and say that BG and I will remain committed to the work of getting every American home.
Something that annoys me to no end is this idea of these athletes serving their country. I don't agree with this. I think if you're an athlete getting paid hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, your service to your nation pales in comparison to Marines, soldiers, airmen, nurses, teachers who are earning $20,000, $30,000 a year and legitimately serving the community and serving the country. Griner was paid $1 million for a Nike deal, and in 2014 she was also paid $600,000 to play in a Chinese league of basketball. After this, with her newfound celebrity status, she'll sell, I guarantee you'll see a book pop up in the next few years that will make millions. She'll be on every talk show for the next month making millions. And if you've been put in that situation, fair enough. Fair enough. I have nothing against people capitalising on a situation that they were put in. But what I don't think we can forget is she did, one, break the law. That's simple. America has people today in prison on trumped-up marijuana charges. And America has a lot of people around the world arrested on bogus charges. Paul Whelan allegedly was spying in Russia at the time, although the CIA has said that we would not have recruited someone with his background in the military, and we would have given him a diplomatic passport. Now, at the end of the day, if he actually was a spy, the CIA would never say that if he was or not. That's how that job works. Although, realistically, is he? Most people seem to think not. And his family is rightfully devastated that he was not included in this trade. And Russian media has been very quick to jump on and say that they offered him, but America didn't want him. And America has said that he was not offered. Very difficult to read between the lines here of what was actually up for offer. But even if he was not offered by the Russian propaganda media, however you see it, saying that he was, further bites into this image that Russia would like to portray of America around the world of America to its more conservative voters in an attempt to maybe get a Conservative or Republican Party get voted back in. It has been very clear that Russia does like to show America on a world stage as a bit of a social justice warrior state. And by saying this, by you left this Marine at home and you took this basketballer, does buy into this. This is state-level large propaganda that is well above all of our heads. Either way, I think this is a ridiculous swap, personally, but I'm open to people having other ideas and seeing it in different light. So I'm glad for Brittney. I'm glad for her, personally, that she's home. It would be a very hard, traumatic time. I guarantee that. But at the end of the day, leaving emotions aside, I think this was a really bad move and a dangerous move into the future that we will see that US has made. I think some of the decisions being made all around the world are part of a very slippery slope. Where you start and where you end becomes very different points. We've seen this with Australia very recently, with allowing families of ISIS fighters being allowed to come home. Now, some people will say you're just fear-mongering a slippery slope. I'm also willing to take that on board, but I believe that a lot of this does lie on a slippery slope, and where we start and where we finish ends in very different places. So, look, sorry if this one was a bit serious. Have a great day, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Something I will leave you with to think about was if it was me. If it was just random, if I was American and it was me, just random Willie in prison, would have the US government made the decision? If you look like me, background like me, would have anything happened? Because there'd be no real political hill to stand on? I don't know. I'll leave that with you to think about and comment below.